Are you a football fan? Have you ever found yourself wondering, what in the world was that ref thinking? Well, Mike D, the referee, is here to help you. Join me on Whistle Talk. I talk to professionals on the field and in the booth to help you understand what is going on inside the mind of a football official. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Whistle Talk. Thanks once again for coming on, listening to what we got going on here on our little show here. Once again, like I always like to say, make sure you hit those like buttons, those subscribe buttons if you enjoy what you're listening to. Comment, reach out to me, Mike D, the referee at gmail.com. And if you don't like what we got going on here, reach out to me, let me know. Tell me how I can make things a little bit better because I'm here for you all out there. So, with my little spiel over and done with there, got some great guests on tonight. Got three individuals tonight who are joining me from the Vets2Refs program. And I'm really excited to have them on. I was lucky enough to be on their podcast, which we'll talk about a couple of weeks ago, and they took the time to come on to the show tonight. And I can't wait for everybody to get to hear what they have going on because I think this is a fantastic thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to turn it over to them. We got Jeb, we got Bill, we got Liz. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. How's everyone doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having
My
us,
pleasure.
Mike. We're super excited to join you, and great to see you again.
Thank you,
Yes,
Mike
yes.
D.
So I guess we'll start off with Liz. Ladies first. Liz, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, a little bit of your backstory, and what brings you to this place here.
Okay, well, it all started with a dream. We, the three of us, and all of us were always talking sports. We talk about football. We're on the chit chat. We're texting each other all the time. Did you see that play? I can't believe it. Jeb's giving us his referee angle, and my son went off to play football for Purdue in the Big Ten. So it all made sense kind of all at one time that we thought, we're talking about this all the time. We're texting about it. Why don't we get together and talk about it on camera? And
There you go.
all of our kids play all different sports. So it came down to why not talk about anything interesting going on in sports. So that's kind of where we started. And then I'll hand it off to Bill to talk about how that kind of morphed into Vets2Refs.
Thank you, Liz. Liz hit up on our settled on the field path, and I served in the Navy for 20 years. I transitioned out in 2019, was able to do a DoD skill bridge program that was at the IHSAA, so the Indiana High School Athletic Association. There in 19, I started hearing about the referee shortage, which I'm sure it's been going on from before then. And then we hit into that sea town that no one likes to talk about.
Yeah.
But so at that time when I was there, we talked about Vets2Refs, and it just wasn't able to take off. And then once the three of us started talking sports again, we brought the idea up. I think Jeb said, "What about that?" And we said, "You know what? Let's get that started." So we have officially become a 501c3 based here out of Indiana. So it's it's official nonprofit. All donations are tax-free, tax reimbursable, deductible, however you want to look at it. And we're just happy to be able to support veterans and first responders and show them that there's a pathway into sports officiating.
Great stuff. And Jeb, how about you?
So I've known Bill all through high school, and Liz, being Bill's younger sister, was always around. So that's kind of how we all became a group. And once Bill got out of the Navy and he was at the IHSAA, I had officiated baseball for 17 years, football for 8, hockey for 8, and then basketball, kind of not officially high school basketball ref, but AAU circuit and intramurals at college. So I had the officiating side of things. I got out of it when I had younger kids. And now that I'm done coaching and they're older, I'm getting back into it, doing hockey and basketball right now. And then possibly going to get back into baseball and football. Just depends on the time. But right now, basketball and hockey have been really fun. So we started Vets2Refs, just to help with the shortage. Being a coach, we were always kind of worried that whether there was going to be refs or umpires at our games. And Bill made a great point, giving a veteran or a first responder something to get their mind off of what they do on a daily basis was a great opportunity to be a sports official and just give them something to look forward to at the end of the day. Maybe, everything they've done for us, and now they turn around and it's still a great opportunity for veterans and first responders to serve us. So we also talk a lot about Unsettled on the Field about youth sports and how the parents need to calm down, and we need officials. And so we do a lot of babysitting on our end of things, and with the parents, and just trying to build the Vets2Refs program so that our kids and future kids and grandkids will all have the opportunity to keep playing sports.
So I do got to correct you there, Jeb. It's not babysitting. It's preventative officiating. You're
Yes.
trying to do the preventative officiating with the parents.
Yeah.
So getting them more aware. So
Correct.
The Vets2Ref thing, I when I first heard about it, I was blown away with the program that you all set up here. So if you can just dive into a little bit more of the nuances with that, what the mission is, and how people go about getting involved with that, and even getting in touch with you, like how did this all come about? Like other than just, hey, I'm a former vet myself. I want to get into this. Like what brought the whole thing on? I mean, it's just fantastic.
Yeah. So Jeb, you're sipping on something. So what we kind of talked about what brought it on. It's just our interest in sports and the fact that we all grew up with sports, talking about it. Like sports have such a positive impact on a young person's life, whether you just play in high school, whether you stop playing in middle school. Like there's just lessons to be learned. And without the referees, there's not going to be sports. It's just going to be practice. So nobody wants to talk about practice. We want to talk about games. So we're going to need officials.
I think Allen
And
Iverson likes talking about practice.
That's my
I
favorite.
think the combination of Jeb was already a ref, when we started our podcast, and Bill was a veteran, and Bill working at the IHSA, just it all kind of flowed really well. And when we started the podcast, we were really gung-ho and like working really well together, and like we were just getting things done. And I feel like we were like, we got this done. We were popping out like in 2 episodes a week at the beginning, and so we were
Nice.
we felt very confident that if we wanted, this was something Bill was passionate about years ago, and it was like, let's just do it, and we did. We did it.
And
Nice.
so basically what our goal of Vets2Refs is to get guys to the field. Okay. So we all talk about the obstacles and the different situations people run into in their daily lives, just trying to change jobs, or, you're busy. But so our goal is to try to streamline the process of becoming official and make it as easy as possible. So we have Vets2Refs.com, the number 2. So Vets2Refs.com. You go there, you can donate to us. We're looking for partners that want to help support the cause. And then there's a form there for veterans and first responders to reach out to us. We've had them from New York, Ohio, West Virginia, Florida, Texas, Indiana, Ohio. So we're going to hopefully get to every state. But what our goal is to get them to the field. So we're trying to help basically teach you the basics of officiating via some of our partnerships. I'll let Bill talk about the partnerships we have, but basically once you reach out on the form, we'll touch base with you and feel you out for what you exactly want to do, and then kind of give you the guidance of how to sign up with your state. Once you can get signed up with your state, Then we offer some online trainings that Bill will discuss. Once you get set up with your state, we're going to support you, and we're trying to build a community of first responders and veterans so they have somebody to fall back to or ask questions to. And that kind of goes along with our online training and partnerships. So go ahead, Bill.
Yep. Just as Jeb mentioned, when you sign up with us, it fills out a form. We get an email. We'll fill out in our Excel or our Google Doc to be able to, keep track of these things. We try to get in contact with someone who signs up within 24 hours, like basically the next day, just to reach out and say, hey, do you have time to talk? Whether it's Jeb or myself that touches base with you first, we're going to get some information from you. And then what we do there is I set you up with ref reps. So what our donors are donating for is to get you some training. So the first training that you need is to be qualified to be an official on the field. So we've got a partnership with ref reps. We'll assign you the lessons within ref reps. So that's online. So we'll give you one sport. So tell me you're interested in 3. We'll sign you up with the first one that makes sense. If you called the day and you want to do basketball, maybe that doesn't make sense for your state because they'd already started. But if your next one is football, that might be better. Just depends on what you're looking for. So we'll get you that assigned, and they have like the rules, and then they also have a POV section. So it gives you the videotape of what it looks like from a referee's perspective. And then we also set you up with 3 months free of Ref Masters. Ref Masters has a Major League Baseball umpire, NBA referee, and NFL official that they hold all kinds of training on their app. And what that does is it lets you be part of their community and a part of our community. We've got a channel in there that we can have discussions and whatnot, but they'll put up like a sample play and like, what do you see? And people will comment, okay, that was a charge, that was a block. And then the pro official will give you just different takes on it from like, well, where was the lead at? Where should they have been? Maybe their eyes weren't on the right spot. What are they thinking? And, where do you need to be as far as the angle to be looking at? It's very good hands-on training. And then in the past, they've also have offered like a cross training. So say you're not a basketball ref, but it's okay because you can get in there and listen to what officials are talking about. And you're still going to be able to pick up something for your game. So you'll have those 2 basically online training scenarios. And then like Jeb said, we make sure we follow up with that to get you certified to play or, just to officiate on the field, point out exactly like the local organization you need to talk with. And that's what gets you rolling.
And so, Mike, I don't know how it is in New Jersey, but how the trainings go in each state is very different. So the reps program is really a way for these guys to learn the basics of officiating. So when they go to that first meeting, they're not a novice. So I don't know how you do it. How do you do it in New Jersey as far as training goes?
So we actually host a class. So we do an in-person class, usually meets once a week or once every other week, depending upon where they're going. And I'm trying to think if it was this past year or 2 years ago, they started doing it early now so that we are getting them ready for the field this coming season. So the class is going to be starting right now for us in March, so that come August, they're done with their training. They've taken our state test and the NFHS requirements, and technically by the rule they can be on the field officiating. Now our state and our local association, we kind of have some other things to try to gradually get them onto the field to get them more experience, but they're ready to go right away with the youth games and the sub-varsity games. And they try to make it a requirement for the first year to not have them on many varsity games, more so being on a chain crew, because a good majority of the schools here in New Jersey pay for a chain crew as opposed to having parents as the chain crew. So it gives them the ability to be on the field, speak with the officials that are working the game, be in the halftime and the pregame and different things like that. So that's the way we've been doing it here since I got involved. Like Bill mentioned before, when COVID happened, it was crazy, and we ended up losing a good number of officials. So this past season, we had people that were finishing the course that were working varsity games this past year because we're at a shortage, which I know everybody is, and we just had a meeting recently. for example, on a Friday night, we'll have 20 games. We only have 17 crews in our association. So we were not we, but our assigner was piecemealing sometimes groups together to get a crew out there. So he was pulling people that were fresh off the game, and all of a sudden we're talking to them pregame, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is my first time ever being on the varsity field." And I'm like, "All right, let's go." So so it was fun. It was interesting. It was great training for them, and I enjoyed working with them and helping them out. But yeah, it was good stuff. But that's how we do it here in New Jersey. And like you said, I know different states do it a little bit differently. And Ref Reps is a great resource that is available to them.
Yeah, I think also part of our goal is the keeping people around, like building that community so that people don't become refs and then, quit after a year, quit after one really bad game, having someone to go to and talk to.
We never have that.
Understand that this is going to happen. You shouldn't expect to be perfect on your first game or your first year or your first 10 years. I'm not sure.
or every game, because it's gonna happen. I mean, we're gonna make mistakes. And I recently was speaking with Brenda Hilton on Officially Human, and just talking about the human aspect of what we all do, because we're to my knowledge, you're all real. You're not AI, are you? You're not artificial intelligence.
I'm Team Human.
Okay, there you go. So we're all going to make mistakes in some type of facet of our lives, and we're going to learn from that. So I guess one of the biggest questions I have, and I'm going to put this one towards you, Bill, being the veteran. What makes veterans so appealing to become officials, to become umpires, to get out on the field?
Well, I mean, that is a great question. And as a veteran, the first thing you're going to learn is not to speak for all veterans, right? A lot of people like to group us into one thing, and one thing to know is we're all individuals. We're all unique. We all have certain circumstances and, different family scenarios and all that, interests and backgrounds. But one thing, we've got training. Probably in any facet, no matter where you were, you had training that was at a level that most people have never seen or don't get to see. So the ability to pick something up, whether it's new completely or something that you're reaching back towards, we usually use the crawl, walk, run. At least that's what I'm used to in my military training background. And it's just, you learn it, you pick it up, you put it into practice. You go over your mistakes, you do an after action report, you look at what you can improve on, and then you improve it. We're dedicated to the cause. We're great teammates. We can be in your crew and stick there for a while. We're passionate. It's just there's a variety of things that it could be that one category that they're going to hang on to, but these people are some of the greatest, individuals that you've ever met or haven't met. And, you might get a guy on the crew who's quiet, or, he's not speaking up, or people are going to be looking at the physical attributes or something. Like it doesn't, none of those things really matter. What matters is they're humans, and they're going to take care of the field. They're going to take care of the sport, and they've been there before. And so they want things to keep rolling.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing, I've been involved in sports, either playing, coaching, or now officiating for over 35 years, and the one thing that continues bringing me back is I love the camaraderie. I love the fact that I have to work as a team on the field. We have crews here, and I'm going to imagine, I don't know from personal experience, but being in some type of military, you need to learn how to work as a team to achieve your goals. And if not, things may go awry and to a different level than on a football field or on a basketball court. So I think the teamwork aspect, I think is a huge correlation from one to the other, and the ability that you have and that you've been trained to have to work with other people is just, it's beyond anything I can imagine.
And the other thing I didn't hit on was communication, but like teamwork and communication, you're going to learn to communicate with multiple types of people, backgrounds, everything. You're there to get the mission done, and we don't have time for, disagreements on small petty stuff. But in order to communicate across the team and help someone out when they're not having a good day, be able to motivate them or just talk to them as a joking on the side in between plays or something like that. I mean, you can count on the veteran to be a good source for that.
And now, Liz, you being in the private sector where you're in sales and marketing, so you're dealing sometimes with more individual type people as opposed to team type people. And
Absolutely.
I could again, I'm making an assumption, and I don't want to categorize everybody into it, but working with team people, team oriented type people probably makes your job a little bit easier, if I could say, without actually being there. Am I correct in assuming that?
You can definitely assume that. I would say salespeople can be a little bit for themselves, if you will. They're kind of like the player in the game sometimes. Some of those players that think they're hot shit out there.
Yeah.
The salespeople can be a little bit like that. So it is nice to have that camaraderie and a team player atmosphere for sure.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And Jeb, I'm sure in your experiences being in all the different facets now seeing I didn't know the hockey background, so that I'm a big hockey fan myself, but seeing how other officials are working, how you need to work with your linesmen and the other officials, and how everything needs to it's a well-oiled machine, and that what makes the game run smooth is when we're doing a smooth job as officials. Am I correct in saying that for you?
Oh yeah, most definitely. And just as an official, meeting new guys and building that crew and camaraderie. I've noticed over the years, the first responders and the veterans, they just have real strong leadership skills, and they're always very poised and handle situations really well. I've learned a lot from a couple guys over my years of umping baseball, just how to stay calm and, just keep the game moving. And so we just feel very strongly that, being a first responder or a veteran is going to help carry over onto the field. Like Bill says, we always expect the veterans to solve all our problems. They're not the only ones out there that can be officials. Everybody listening to this podcast can become an official. It takes effort and dedication, and, you can't just put on a shirt and say you're the ref. You have to go through the training. And like Bill mentioned, our different opportunities. And like you mentioned, in New Jersey, you have classes. In Indiana, we have association meetings. They're basically once a week leading up to the season. So going into the basketball season, you've been to 7 meetings. So you're not just thrown to the wolves, but we feel very strongly in our program that we're able to send these guys to their first game or to their first meeting with some knowledge and some understanding of the process, so it's not so overwhelming. And that really, we feel like, is getting people to the field. We have guys doing volleyball, wrestling, basketball, football, and a couple guys lined up for baseball and softball coming ahead. So it's fallen into place, but we're looking for more guys and more support.
That's awesome. So how long has Vets2Refs been in play? How long has that organization? I know you mentioned it was brought up, but when did it truly come into fruition that you started getting that first person out on the field?
Well, we're still less than a year old at this stage. I've just looked back at some of the numbers for the end of 24. We had our first person signed up in May, and since then, across the state of Indiana, we had 12 sign up since May, and across the country was 13 when I pulled the numbers, but 4 in the past 2 days. So that's
13 on top of the 12.
On top of the 12, yeah.
Otherwise, it sounds like one extra.
My bad. So thanks, Liz. 25 plus the due 4, that we're up to 29. And but that's almost been a year, and even the first couple of months was more like paperwork for the official nonprofit and setting up the website and some background things. So
yep.
Really, we've got a couple more months until we've been hitting it for a year.
And
That's great.
also on those numbers, we have guys that have reached out to us with interest that haven't come all the way into the program. So the numbers Bill's given is guys that are coming to the program and want to become officials. There's numerous on top of that that have expressed interest, and maybe they're doing baseball and just haven't caught the full bug yet, or they're moving and don't have time to do it yet, but they're interested. So there's definitely some traction out there.
Good stuff. That's great hearing that the numbers are going up, and 4 over the last 2 days. That's fantastic. So keep it going.
Yeah,
So now people are coming back home. They're serving in the military, or they are home and they're working as a EMT, or are you working with firemen and police officers as well too in the first responder category?
Yeah.
How do they catch wind of what you have going on here? How are you guys trying to get your name out there other than by jumping on small little podcasts like mine? I mean, geez, nobody's listening to me. I'm kidding. I love all my listeners. I love
Man,
you all.
we're lucky to be on Whistle Talk to help spread the word. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
I would say, the police or firefighters, firemen, firewomen, you wouldn't have to look at your phone too long to hear something about Los Angeles and the fires or a terrorist attack in New Orleans. They're on duty every day. And so that's why we extended this to the first responders as well. You asked about how are we reaching out to them in this first, and you guys can feel free to chime in if you want, but in the first 6 months or so, we went with just social media, getting the word out to our different people that we're already in contact with. It's a little bit of a chicken and an egg game with the finances. We can't go out to the fire station and sign up 100 people tomorrow, because then we might not have the funds to push them all through, or enough previously bought seat licensed and it all set up. So the slow roll has worked well for us in the first 9 months, but we're looking to expand all of that side of the operations.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and we've also gone to some community outreach. We went to the Purdue Military Appreciation Day. We went to the Indy Fuel opening day. They had Indy Fuel is a hockey team here that opened a new hockey rink. They had a military appreciation day as well. So we've been doing things like that to try to get our name out there.
And
Awesome.
Liz, let me just hop on that one. It was Hero Hut put on the event, so they invited us to come. They invite nonprofits to join as one to come out to events like that. So thanks to Hero Hut.
Well, to all the Whistle Talk listeners that are out there, and I've been getting hit up by people from different countries too. So, but if you're serving in the military and you're serving overseas, and when you come back home, hit these guys up. This is a fantastic program that they have going on here. So spread the good word. All the officials. I know we have a good number of officials that are out there, and I know we've been talking about just the recruitment and the retention. If you're friends with somebody who's a first responder or is a retired vet, this is a great opportunity for them to get some help and get the process going. So that's why I love it. I am really good friends with a number of local police officers in the township where I live and in the neighboring towns, and also at the state level. I've got some of my closest friends are first responders, and just hearing some of the stories and some of the stuff that they go through on a daily basis, I'm friends with them through sports, through coaching my son's teams or my daughter's teams and stuff like that. And just to see the amount of relief that they get from being involved in the sport, to get some of the stuff that they're dealing with on a daily basis of their lives, to get into a more fun atmosphere or the team again, and away from some of the things that you've had to deal with. Okay. It truly opened up my appreciation for everything that you guys do. So once again, for the people out there listening, thank you, Bill. Thank you for your service. I can't reiterate that enough during our show and during our text messages. I truly do appreciate everything that you guys do and have done in all walks. So thank you again.
I think as a parent, on the personal note, as a parent, you hate to be the team that you drove all the way out there.
Yeah.
And your game to get canceled.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't enough refs. Or you hate to be the mom that's pulled onto the field and is doing the doing the refereeing yourself and you don't know what you're doing. So I know Jeb's threatened that at some of his games.
And another thing, Mike, existing referees that are veterans and first responders, they're welcome to reach out and join with us as well. We'd love to have their experience and expertise. And we also offer getting them into the Ref Masters program, which is very high level, detailed work. I was just watching one before I went out shoveling, and they were just talking through the legality of verticality in basketball. And
I did see that one today.
And it was just really cool to see how they show the clip and then the discussion, and then the NBA ref will come in and he'll say, in the NBA, this is legit. In high school, this is a foul. There's a lot of differences that they'll explain. But so existing officials that want more
support,
knowledge and training, they can reach out to us as well. And when we try to have community building calls, we'd love to have their expertise on there to help new officials.
Yep.
Yeah, and one thing I know that
mentorship we can get.
That's exactly where I was going to go, is because it's one thing that I know we've talked about and that I've talked about a number of times on the show is that we're always looking for the mentors. That's one of the biggest things I think personally that helps with the retention, is having that sounding board to bounce stuff off of, to vent to get some necessary feedback, good or bad. So, but having that good mentor. So having those mentors out there and in our small fraternity and sorority that we have in the officiating world, it's definitely something that would be beneficial for everybody involved. So definitely, so those listeners that are out there, hop on board. Let's go.
Yeah.
So tell my listeners, tell the listeners out there about your podcast. Let them know about a little bit of Settled on the Field. So I know we got podcast listeners that are out there. So after you listen to my show on Wednesday, Thursday, go on and listen to Settled on the Field. So I gotta plug that.
Well, Settled on the Field, like we kind of talked about, it began because our kids play all different sports. They run the gamut: football, hockey, golf, baseball, track. What am I missing?
Lacrosse.
Jeb's child plays every sport under the sun. He's a busy man. So that's kind of how it got started. So on our podcast, we talk about different things such as the rule of the day. Jeb gives a rule of the day. It could be about any sport. Just interesting rules that happen out there. We talk about recruiting tips. I went through the whole recruiting process with my son, who's now playing football in college. And so we talk about some of the tips and tricks that kids out there can do if they're trying to go play at the next level. We've had different coaches and different referees and all kinds of different guests that have a sports background. And there's also a motivational section. So Bill talks about walk-on warriors, and he talks about what you need, the kind of mindset that you need to have to play at the next level. And we like to have guests on that can give that kind of mindset to, whether it's to that person, that kid that's out there that wants to play at the next level, or just someone like you or I that wants to put themselves out there and do something new. You want to become a referee, you got to have an open mindset. You want to get a new job, you got to have a growth mindset. I mean, there's so many facets that we like to touch on.
Yeah, so dive in. Tell me about the walk-on warriors. That sounds very intriguing.
Yeah, well, we all had a segment, and we came up with our own names for the segment. And when we first started, my background, being in the Navy, and then before that, I walked on to the football team at Ball State, and so it just came together as walk-on warrior. And Liz said I talk about the mindset that you need to have. And trust me, I'm no expert. I'm in a deliberate discomfort challenge with Jason Van Camp, and he's an expert at this. And we had Andy Reese on who has books and is a assistant coach for the Chicago Bears. They know what they're talking about. I'm just relaying some information or just giving my own 2 cents from it. But from my perspective, it's just like Liz says. Liz says at the end of the show, "Don't talk about it, be about it." And I tell people to keep dominating, because you can't not go into, or you can't go into something thinking you're not going to accomplish it. You've got to have some confidence, and you've got to just get after it and get started. And that's how you're going to get things done. That's how you're going to become a referee after you listen to the show and you sign up. So that's where it came from.
We also had what was the guy's name? The jiu-jitsu guy?
Daryl Sullins.
Daryl Sullins Sr.
So
out to him,
gold medal winner in the Pan American Games. So we get a lot of interesting guests with sports backgrounds. That's our general.
This guy just fought in a jiu-jitsu match and he won it. We saw. It was like maybe in September.
Yeah, he's like 60. He was in the 60+ range, but he won this gold medal they're talking about back in the 80s. So
yeah,
his mindset, and he's got a consulting company, and it's very similar path. Like you can't.
Wow. He gave us the line of the podcast. He'd rather wear out than rust out.
So that's like our quote. That should be the new quote of the year right there.
Here you go.
And then lastly, Bevo Francis just scored another basket.
You have to look that one up, Mike. Bevo Francis.
Come back to us when you can figure out who that is.
Just scored another. Well, I'm thinking Bevo, but I don't know. We don't want to talk Texas football with 3 Notre Dame fans on here, huh?
I had Texas going the whole way, and then you know what? I pivoted, and I was like, Oregon's on a roll, and I called Oregon, and then I was a failure.
Me too.
Yeah.
I
picked Oregon, Texas, so I'm also in the losing category of my brackets. So, which is why I don't gamble, but that's a whole nother episode.
Actually, we probably should do an episode on why you should not gamble. For the youngins out there.
I'm thinking about doing an episode and giving my picks. So that'll go, you guys can all bet against me and you'll be winners. So the reverse psychology aspect. But that's great stuff. And I do got to say too, you also, listening to your podcast, you did have one special guest on there that I really truly liked. Me. Excuse me. Sorry. I had a me stuck in my throat.
We do love to have the referees on, and you were definitely one of the top referee guests.
The top. One of the top, though, not the top. Okay, I'll take it.
Oh, we have a Super Bowl ref on.
All right. That's a difficult one to top right there, but I'll take it. I'll allow it. But guys, once again, I love what you have going on here, what you're building together. The fact that you are literally family, and you're building a family through things that you love and things that you've truly been a part of. I mean, that's what this is all about. This whole thing, this crazy thing we call life, it's what it's about. And we just happen to have ours involve a whole lot of sports that goes with it too, with our families and our friends and our loved ones. And so I'm at a loss for words right now. I truly appreciate everything that you guys got going on. The Vets2Refs thing is just fantastic stuff. Once again, Vets2Refs.com. Really quick, I got to give it a plug. Bill, you got something you want to add? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, you're talking about life, and we're talking about veterans and first responders, and it just hit me that one thing I didn't say when you asked us about Vets2Ref is, like, not only are we trying to have a community here, and we're trying to get these veterans as they transition out or they come back home into their communities, so they have the support. Yes, it's a lot about sports, but like they reference my passion for it is it's also about, the veterans being welcome and where they're at and feeling like they can get back to their community, back in society, and just live the life they want to do, choose what they want to do for the first time in a while, and just feel comfortable in their own shoes or their own cleats. So we're
That's
happy
fantastic
to do it.
stuff. So I'm going to share my screen here really quick. I have your homepage pulled up here that I just want to throw out to everybody. So you can see right here on the Vets2Refs website, Vets2Refs, the number 2 in between, Vets2Refs.com. You can see right here for donations, veterans or first responders who are looking to start. Scroll down. I'm loving the store you guys got going too here. The apparel is some nice stuff. Bill, which one
Some
are
good
you
stuff.
here in this picture?
Check out those hats.
Hey, we didn't mention Run and Ref, that one in the middle there. You can follow Austin Audrey. He's going to give you great fitness tips. But you asked which one is me. I'm the one with my arms crossed with that filthy, crusty mustache right there.
Look at that.
The lead shooter on the USS George Washington back in 2009 to 11.
Very nice, very nice. Going with the
shooters.
Tom Cruise look, I see.
Yeah.
And here's some of the episodes here. So definitely take a look at that website, Vets2Refs. How can people get in touch with you guys other than the websites? What's other ways that people can get in touch with you?
Veterans2Referees@gmail.com is our email.
Okay.
They can find us, our Settled on the Field podcast on YouTube and Spotify. And what am I
Facebook,
missing?
Instagram.
Thank you.
There you go.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Settled on the Field.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, once again, I want to thank you guys for taking the time out to join me, taking the time out from shoveling the snow out there in the Midwest. Awesome stuff. Again, I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to go out, check out their website, spread the good word. Vets2Refs, Vets2Refs.com. Jeb, Liz, Bill, thank you guys once again. Have a fantastic night, guys.
Thank you,
Mike D.
So, thank you.
Have a great day.
Keep down.
Don't talk about it, be about it.
There you go.